Teal's Tacos with Stefanie Michele. She's about to get her breakfast burrito.
Yes.
And what are you drinking?
Horchata.
Is it pumpkin spice?
It's not pumpkin spice.
Okay.
No, I just went with regular horchata. It reminds me of my grandma when I would be sick. She'd always make horchata, so I needed it today.
It's a real cocoa moment.
It's a moment. Yeah.
What was that song?
Remember me. I feel like this is my burrito. Okay.
So, as a single mom,
Yes.
has it been hard to schedule around?
Absolutely. It's been like super, I'm putting the numbers so they can see it. It's been super hard to schedule around because like I have to find babysitters, I have to find times, and then sometimes I have to do that like, okay, I have shows so I can't do mics, or I have mic, I've wanted to hit up mics, I can't book shows. So it's tricky. Like if like their dad was closer, I feel like it would have been a lot more convenient to be like, hey, this is what's going on, but it's part of what makes my story mine, so it works.
So, Stephanie, who are your influences?
Okay, so I feel really bad saying this because I wasn't somebody who got into stand-up comedy because I wanted to do it. I like the whole getting dared into it thing. So I think like the first real time like I watched a stand-up special and I was like, oh my gosh, that's a thing, was Ellen DeGeneres' Here and Now. That's probably my favorite, still probably one of my favorite stand-up specials. So that's been a big one. My favorite comic is not even somebody who I can do their style, because it's like Mitch Hedberg, and I can't do that if I try. Yeah. It's just bad.
So, how did you get into comedy?
I was dared into it. I went out with Esmeralda. This is actually before my divorce.
That's Esmeralda Villalobos.
Esmeralda Villalobos.
Say it to the camera.
Esmeralda
She cousin.
Villalobos. That is my cousin. That is blood right there. But no, she wanted a girls' night, so we went to go to Flappers in Claremont. She was just doing an open mic, but she wanted to hang out. So I went. She was like, hey, you should do this. And me being me, I was like, sure, why not? Like, not really, I don't know, I guess taking her serious. And so she ran up, put my name in. They were, at the time they were doing, if it was your first time, you went up first. So there was one other person that was there that was their first time, so they went up. I went up next. I had like just a couple minutes to think of 3 minutes worth of stuff to say. And yeah, I pretty much got off the stage, I stared at her and I was like, I hate your face. Which is a common thing that's said between us, but I did it. I didn't get back on stage for about 6 months after, like it was between that time and the actual going back on stage at the Hideaway was my divorce started, everything like that. So it's kind of, I went through like a whole shift in my plans.
You have a podcast, just like almost the rest of the comedic world, but this one's pretty nice because it's called Find the Funny, and it's about the writing process.
Yes.
And can you describe your own writing process?
So I wish I was one of the people that could like sit down and be like, hey, I'm gonna write these jokes, but for me it's been mostly like having something happen that reminds me of some like a story, or just like kind of just naturally. So I have like a notepad on my phone that I like write into all the time, and so it's kind of just been like that's been my process for the most part. I do occasionally be like, I'm gonna go up with like a story in mind and not really have it worded, and I like to kind of figure out how I naturally word it, and then from there I'll edit it back and kind of play with it. Because when I write, like actually like writing, I tend to write very academic, given everything else I do in my life besides comedy. So I kind of figured that I shouldn't write first and say it later, because it doesn't come across the way I would naturally talk.
Right.
So that's my process. It's kind of haphazard.
So you have a great interest in books, as you've been telling me pretty much since the beginning of our friendship.
Yes.
Would you recommend any books by comedians for comedians?
So I only recently started doing like biographies or autobiographies, and I've enjoyed the ones that are read by the comic themselves. So Trevor Noah's Born a Crime, and he reads it himself. So I did the audiobook for that. I'm not typically a biography type of person, so that's probably been like the most palatable way, and also because you get to hear him as he would say it, and I think that's really cool. So yeah, the Trevor Noah's Born a Crime. I really like Tiffany Haddish's Black Unicorn, or The Last Black Unicorn. It has to do with a black unicorn. That much I know. But that one's a really good one. Also, I just downloaded Kevin Hart's, one of his autobiographies, and I'm going to probably start that next week. But yeah, I usually have an audiobook going, a paperback book, and then a Kindle book, because I'm a pretty avid reader.
So as you go deeper into your this career in comedy, where do you see yourself going?
I enjoy doing stand-up. I think it's so much fun. It's like a huge stress relief. But my passion's writing. I always wanted to write for like not a podcast. Now we talked about podcasts. That's in my head. I wanted to write for like a series or movies and stuff like that. That's more of what I really wanted. Like, I would love to be able to write on a sitcom or have one of my ideas picked up. Like, that would be just really cool. Or like, I've always wanted to write a book. I had a book. I had about 500 pages of a novel, and then my computer crashed. And then I've never had the same energy to do that again. So I haven't. That happened, oh my gosh, like 10 years ago, and there was no copies of it left. I didn't save it like the way now I save anything I write, like in 10 different places. So I haven't ever gone back to writing book format again, because that just broke my heart.
So, as a single mom, former Marine, you always will be a Marine.
Yeah, once and always.
Divorced. What would you say to women that have gone through your experience, how to get into comedy like you have?
I think the thing is so there's a military saying called "embrace the suck," and if you actually want to do it, you have to realize that it's gonna suck most of the time, but you get through that shitty time to get to the part that's awesome. And if you're okay doing that, then you could actually kind of do this either as a hobby, as something that you're doing like for like an end goal. But it's you can't go into this thinking that everything's going to be perfect and somebody's going to see you and everything's going to fall into place. Like, you have to know, like, you're going to have days where you bomb. You're going to have days where you're tired or you feel like shit, and you're like, okay, do I want to go? What do I do? So yeah, just kind of finding a way to be okay with the shit times of it, I think would be the biggest piece of advice.
Welcome to this open mic. So this is a stand-up comedy open mic. Now, before I get started, just round of applause for anyone that has never, ever been here before. He called Bob Roster an assist. We would have this little squirrel say, "Oh, you need a little punch over there, a little punch over here." There's no mistakes, just happy kicks in the face.
And by the way she was running, I knew she was going to fall right on her face. I could just tell. Like you guys ever seen Woody run from Toy Story? Right? It's like no control of his limbs, just like...
Cheeseburger. Food has never tasted so good.
The premise of the movie Rings, like the place it has to start is stupid, because the place it has to start is, one day in 2016, somebody was watching a VHS.
He ghosted me. There crosses a obituary. He ghosted me.
Jackson Lynn, everyone please give her Stefanie Michele!
Aaron, I feel like the past couple times you brought me up, you've commented on eating ass right before I walk on stage.
I knew it!
And it makes me love you so much more. All right, guys. So how's everybody doing tonight? I've had an eventful week. I feel like I'm just going to use this time to vent to you, and I'm sorry, and congratulations. I'm frustrated with dick pics. I feel like I'm curious. Like I don't know what guys are thinking when they send them. But they always like catch me off guard. Like the last one somebody sent, they're like, "What did you have for breakfast?" And before I even had a chance to respond, I got a dick pic. And I didn't know if I should respond to the breakfast comment or the penis. I was so confused. I finally responded with, "Dude, the lighting was on point." Not what he wanted to hear. But as somebody who likes photography, I'm gonna let you know where the talent is. Just stay around. I don't know, but I found out like most of the time, like they ask a starter question and then it's like followed up immediately with the penis. Like so breakfast, penis. It was how was your day, penis. I was at my friend's kid's bar mitzvah, and it was like how's the bar mitzvah going? Followed up with a penis. That time it was actually okay because it was circumcised and it was kosher, so everything was good. I felt it was appropriate. I don't know. I have 2 kids. I'm a single mom. Thank you. I made bad life choices, and now we're here. But I have 2 kids. I have a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old. I love being a mom. I had a weird conversation with the kids the other day. So we had to have the kidnap conversation because they're at that age and adorable. I make adorable children. Yay. But we were having this conversation, and I tell my 8-year-old daughter, I'm like, okay. If somebody grabs you in the store, you can scratch their eyes, you scream, you kick them in the nuts, you do whatever you need to do to get away. And she looks and she's like, wait, I can kick somebody in the nuts? And I'm like, okay, this one's good. She's taken care of. I look at my son and I'm like, okay, same thing. Scratch him in the eyes, kick him in the nuts, do whatever you need to do. And my 6-year-old son responds, I would politely ask them to put me down. And I've never had it so obvious that my son is going to get kidnapped. And it's going to... Like that kid has milk carton written all over him. It's comforting as a parent. Also this week, I was actually diagnosed with cancer this week. So, yeah, no, you don't have to applaud that one. It's okay. We'll comments applaud that one. Thank you guys. Support. It is actually thyroid cancer. And so I have to remove my whole thyroid. I have to go through surgery, I have to go through radiation. And I'm reading all of the side effects. And one of the things is they look over and they're like, oh, when you have the radiation, you can't be near pregnant women and children. I teach, so I have a perfect excuse to be a complete asshole to my students. Like, medically, you have to stay far away from me. And I'm like, that's kind of exciting. One of the shitty things is I'm gonna have to take hormones for the rest of my life. And I don't like taking pills. Like, I got my tubes tied so I didn't have to take birth control. I don't like pills, like it's a thing. But I was reading the side effects of all the pills, and one of the side effects said increased appetite, but also a high chance of weight loss. So pretty much I'm 100% okay with cancer at this point. Like I think I hit the jackpot. The best fucking diet plan ever. Yeah, no, it's fine. I'll be good. Have to do the whole hair thing. It'll be fine. Let's see. What else do I want to talk about? I was dating somebody and I did just break up with him. Thank you. Again, the comics, the single ones. This is good. But I broke up with him. And I did it because we went to the movies and he talked through the movies. Yeah, I'm like, I love you. Okay. No, but it's like, yeah, we're in the movie theater and he's talking. And I was like, you have to fucking go. I can't do this shit and I don't care how good anything else is. You talk to the movie and his sarcasm was bad. Like, he didn't know how to sarcasm and it made me sad. Those are my pet peeves. If you talk in the movies and you don't know how to sarcasm, go fuck yourself. All right, have a good night, guys.
Is that on you? Or?
It is. Are you recording? Yeah, you're recording.
There you go.
I'm just fixing my shoe, so I kind of look ridiculous at the moment.
Bloopers.
Bloopers. That's my life.
Okay.
I can see it saying right there.
Okay.
That was sideways. We're only gonna die a little bit. It's fine.
It's okay.
It's good.
It's good to die a little.
Just a little.
Just a tad.
If it's the whole thing, then that's bad. Like, no matter how hard I tried, I don't think I could ever say a Mitch Hedberg joke in a way that would work.
You want to give it a shot?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I joke around. I don't know if you ever heard like his refried beans.
No.
That what if what if fried beans are just as good and we're wasting time? Like, it's so stupid and it's so like funny because you're just like, wait, what? And so yeah, he's just like my favorite.